Hi everybody and welcome to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. My name is Rob Evans and I'm your weight loss coach, health strategist and internationally published author, helping take your mindset, your life, your business, your body, your health from where you are right now to being unstoppable. And you're coming on a walk with me on Saturday afternoon here in Melbourne, Australia. It's springtime and this is probably the pick of the week so far in terms of the weather. Around about, I'll say 19, 20 degrees, something like that. The sun is out, I'm getting some sun on my face, and it feels magnificent. If I'm a bit muffled, it's because of my mask that I have to wear. And today's topic is about Plan D. What's Plan D for you? And what is inspiring me today is the fact that we're on the eve of the single biggest announcement that my state government has probably announced in the last 50 years, and that's to do with what is the proposed rollback or way out of lockdown from COVID for our state here of Victoria. They're announcing it tomorrow. Now, the reality is that when the announcement comes, and I'll give you an update tomorrow, but when the announcement comes, it's not going to be anything like people are probably hoping for or expecting. What it will be is pretty much an announcement of, well, we'll come up with a plan, and in 2 weeks' time, we're going to see how the numbers are going, and when that time comes, if the numbers are good, then we'll think about opening up construction, for instance. We're going to see how that goes for 2 weeks, and then if the numbers continue to track down, then we'll either, if they stay the same, we'll just keep it where it is. If they improve dramatically, then we will consider opening up the next area, and things like retail and the coffee shops and health fitness, that sort of stuff will be well down the track, I think. There is some discussion through a leaked document that on the end of the month, so 28th of September, that I would be able to get back into the parks with any clients and start training with them out in the park rather than in a studio. But the devil is in the detail. Now, why am I talking about all of this? Because this is their Plan B, right? This is Plan B. And this whole plan is on the preface that the vaccine will be available by March next year. Now, at no point have they considered, well, what's Plan C and what's Plan D? And I say Plan B is now because Plan A was to in the first lockdown, but that didn't work, so now we're in Plan B. But they're still planning on the basis that there's going to be a vaccine. Now, there's a high probability that there will not be a vaccine, or a vaccine that is as good as the flu shot, for instance. There's no guarantee of it. They haven't found a vaccine for a COVID virus in the past, so does it just mean now, because you've got so many countries around the world focusing on it, that you're going to get an outcome? Well, now's probably the best chance ever of doing it, but the reality is we may not get one, and they have no plan for that. So all we're getting is a plan that's very, very harsh. It's going to continue to be very, very harsh for some time longer. They're going to take a long time to come out of this. It's going to annoy a lot of people. It's going to further decimate lives and livelihoods and industries, and our economy is absolutely wrecked in Victoria. And that's the way forward. So I then thought, well, that's a crappy plan. It's really not good at all. And it made me think about my own plan, and then it maybe inspired me to talk to you about this today. Now, I would assume that you're all in Plan B at the moment. because of the change and the impact that it's had on pretty much everybody's business. I mean, there's a handful of businesses, really industries out there that are doing super, super well because of they're in the food chain or delivery chain or something like that that just really has been just exploding at this time. But what is your plan C? What if this continues for 3 years? Have you got a plan for that? What if it continues for longer than that? What if it doesn't disappear? What's your plan? Are you changing industry altogether? Are you going to pivot completely to do something else? You're going to keep doing the same thing but do it differently. How are you going to pivot further? How are you going to cope? So that, the governments can't keep handing out money forever. So we've got to find our ways of being able to make it on our own, do it on our own. And so I've got a plan C and a plan D. Plan D is probably pretty drastic, but plan C considers looking at alternative things that I do, using the strengths that I do have. I guess there could be a plan E, like if things got like so desperate that it was like you've got to sell your house to survive kind of thing. I would say, okay, it's probably time to reach out to those clients of mine that work in the accounting field and say, all right, it's time to go back and do some of this work. Now, that would be like a plan E, F, G, something like that, because I'm so passionate about what I do. You've heard me say this before. If you're passionate about what you do, you can't fail. You just find a way of making it work. And what it would mean is continue to innovate the services that I currently provide. And just, it's interesting, just the last few days I've picked up a couple of new clients because they're realising that it's time to give back to themselves. It's time for them to focus on what's important to them and look after their health because they just don't know how long this is going to go for. And people are becoming more and more unhealthy and more unfit. So there needs to be a change there. And more so in my state here, because we are only allowed out for so much of the time. Like I'm out for a walk now. This is the only time I can come outside for exercise today. So we've got to make sure that we've got these plans in place. So if you haven't, you need to start thinking. And even if you say, well, yeah, that's just what's happening in your hometown here. Look, in Spain, I think a couple of days ago, they had 25,000 new cases in one day. 25,000. Now, no healthcare system can cope with that many. If that many people are going to get like really unwell from it, in 2 years' time, this could turn into something else, and all of a sudden, it is impacting people in my age group or younger, in that 20 to 30 year age group. If you look at the Spanish flu, they were the main people that were infected, the 20 to 30 year olds, and we're now seeing a big increase of that age bracket being infected, and for a couple of reasons. One, because there could be a little bit more blasé about it, but also because a lot of the health workers are in that age group as well, and a lot of them are getting sick. So you just don't know where this is going to end, and if we're not appropriately planning for it, then we're going to be caught off guard. And even though you might be sitting here now thinking, well, no, it's okay, it's not going to get any worse from here. Well, just think about at the start of 2020, like January, February 2020. I was planning my year out, I was head down, I was getting some awesome results, I was set to have my best year ever, and then this came from nowhere. So imagine, yes, we're living in COVID now, but what if there's something else? we just don't know. We don't know what's coming along. I'm thinking, look, could it be even more of a natural disaster for us in our area, like floods, fires? We're heading into a fire season soon. Fire, which we haven't even really recovered from last year's, or earlier this year, I should say. Earthquakes. Heaven forbid there be some sort of nuclear disaster, either by virtue of like Fukushima, which was caused by, the tsunami, or whether some idiot presses a button. The tensions between Australia and China. I mean, who knows what the long-term reaching implications of that are. I mean, they're stopping wine exports to China. They're stopping, I think there's some livestock issues. I think there's some barley issues as well. They're not allowed to export that to China anymore. I think steel is still able to, iron ore is still able to be exported, but you just don't know what the long-term impact here is. I mean, China's a powerful country, and if they say they don't like the way that they've been implicated with coronavirus and the blame solely being put on them, etc., which is where it should go, then they've got all this power that can affect our whole country, it can affect our jobs. So things could get a lot worse for us here, and for maybe other parts of the world too. So we've got a plan, and this isn't about being doom and gloom about what our futures hold. I'm terribly excited about what the future holds for us. We will get beyond this, but we just don't know the timing of it. And I see more and more people, I'm having more and more conversations with people and doing coaching sessions for people that are really struggling with mentally with what's going on. So we certainly know that we're going to be working a lot more from home. We're going to be doing more homeschooling. Me personally, I doubt that my children are going to go back to school this year in terms of face-to-face learning. I think they'll spend the whole year at home. I think we've got 2 weeks left, and then we've got school holidays. So it's about 4 or 5 weeks away before they could go back. So that's another month. I just can't see the numbers getting low enough for that to be a really good idea. So our lives are going to be different for a long, long time. And I just want you to make sure that you've got the right sort of plan in place. Thinking about what's that next level, not just what you're doing now, but what else could you do? If everything that you're doing right now, you couldn't do it, or you couldn't do it in the way that you're doing it, what is the next thing you're going to do? How are you going to do it? And start planning for it now. Because if you don't need to use it, fantastic. It's a bit like insurance. We have it hoping that we never need to use it. But if we do need it, it's there. And this is the same thing. So I'll give you an update tomorrow with what's happened in this announcement, which is going to come out on Father's Day tomorrow. I think it's so wrong to be coming out on a Sunday for one, but also doing it on a Father's Day when people are already under a lot of stress, and it should be a day where everybody can just relax and enjoy themselves. But they're doing this as well, so those people that are feeling fragile, it's just going to make them feel even more fragile. It's not right, but we can't control it because they've made the decision. So I'll give you an update tomorrow. In the meantime, what's plan C? What's plan D? What's plan E for you? Stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.